Family and friends, we begin our service in Eunice's memory. I'm Rabbi Eddie Sukal from the Shul. The eye never has its fill of seeing. The author of Ecclesiastes wrote these words thousands of years ago. The eye never has its fill of seeing, recognizes that young or old, those who depart this life never get to see enough of their world, never get to complete all of their tasks, never get to cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How we yearned to have one we love close to us for another challenge in our lives, another joyful moment, and how they yearned to be with us. We who gather today call upon God on your behalf to ask God to be with you and to comfort you, to console you. Because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. O God, comfort Eunice's family. Be with them even when your light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, in this time of grief. Adonai ma'adam v'teda'ehu ben enosh v'tichashavehu adam lehevel dama. Yamav kitzel over baboker yatzitz v'chalef la'erev yomolel v'yavesh. Like the psalmist, we ask the existential and eternal questions when we confront death. Oh God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? It seems that we are little more than a breath, our days like a passing shadow. We come up and grow like grass. In the morning it shoots up renewed, and yet in the evening it fades and withers. You cause us to return to dust, saying, "Return, O you mortal creatures." If only we were wise and understood where we are going. But this we do know. Mark the wholehearted, behold the upright. They shall know true peace. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. That's the beginning of a description of Eunice. She was wholehearted in all that she did, in the things she said, in the love that she shared with all of you. She gave of herself fully and wholeheartedly. Eunice possessed a great love of family, to be sure, and love of so many friends. Friendships that lasted over a lifetime. Some from her very young years, childhood years, other friends she made along the way in adult life, friends from True Sisters, where she was an active and involved volunteer, friends from Mount Sinai Hospital, where she volunteered and loved the work that she did there and loved the people that she met. And the friendships from those years lasted longer than the hospital did. I'm not sure in the totality of her life we would call Eunice a big risk taker. But she did one night at the end of Yom Kippur take a chance and went on a blind date. That was a good chance that she took. And she met Harvey. And on a second date, after the second date, Harvey said, "We'll get married." I've been a rabbi for nearly 30 years. I've been in Cleveland 25 of them. This was the first time I had heard about what was apparently the famous Cleveland Yom Kippur dance. I was glad to hear that it was after break the fast, not on the holiday itself. She met Harvey, and it was only 6 months, a half a year later, that they married. And together, they built a life and a home and a family. Things were not always easy. There were fiscal challenges. There were, in later years, health challenges. And of course, there was the challenge of rearing 3 children, Lauren and Eric and Evan. Now, you've all turned out very well. Your parents did a very good job rearing you. But that doesn't mean there weren't a few bumps along the way. As you reminisced about your childhood, you remembered how your parents, and especially your mom, was always there for you. That didn't mean she always agreed or approved, but she was always honest. You knew where you stood. You got a realistic appraisal. And there was constant support. And all of that came from the tremendous love that she had for the 3 of you. You grew up in an extended family. I think that word that I used to describe it the other day was that it was kind of a clan. Whether it was at your house or an aunt and uncle's house, didn't really matter. They were all interchangeable. The parents and aunts and uncles were practically interchangeable. If you needed to talk to someone, and it couldn't be your mom, it could be one of her sisters. There were family meals, some at your home, some at others, holidays. And your house for your friends, that was kind of the hangout place. That's where everyone gathered. And of course, your parents had their friends, and they gathered in your home as well. Years ago, a group of them, and some of them are here, gathered and started a synagogue, also of blessed memory, but a synagogue that's dear to many of us, Congregation Bethenu. And they were founding and charter members. And let us remember today as well what we would call the women that played cards with your mom, but really it was the girls in those years, the canasta girls. For years and years and years playing cards, playing canasta. In the early years, smoking as they did. You talked about coming down on the morning after the canasta game and there was a haze of smoke. But even better was the leftover candy. They probably couldn't see it through all the smoke, and so that was your breakfast on those days. And just as she was a parent and a mom to Evan and to Lauren and to Eric, she was also a loving aunt and a beloved aunt to nieces and nephews. Children are our investment in the future. She got a good return on that investment with Dustin and Jason and then Eve. And if children are our investment and grandchildren some kind of interest on that investment, then great-grandchildren are some kind of wild compound interest that's invaluable. And Aubrey and Dahlia, what a delight she took in them. 2 little wonderful girls. Jane and Joyce, we know that today is a difficult day as you say goodbye to Eunice. As years ago, you had to say goodbye to Arlene of blessed memory. The four of you grew up together. You had not just a relationship of sisters, but a loving and deep and close friendship. You shared your lives with one another. You traveled together, different places, different trips. For years and years, you celebrated holidays together in each other's homes, as I've said, helping to rear each other's children over the years. We gather with all of you, Joyce and Jane and Eunice's children. We gather with all of you to comfort you. Not only to ask God to be with you, but also that we might be with you, so that we might embrace you and share our love with you and try in this sad time to offer some measure of comfort, some consolation. Eunice graduated high school and began her studies at OSU, but they were interrupted for quite a long time, actually. Interrupted by marriage and family, interrupted by taking care of parents. There were all kinds of good reasons. But eventually she returned to school. She was ahead of her time. This was before women of her generation were finishing their education, before they were entering the workforce in such large numbers. And she went back to school, one course at a time, two courses, one course, little by little, eventually, over the course of several years, getting a degree and becoming a preschool teacher, working at Fairmount Temple Preschool. They say that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And she loved being a preschool teacher. She loved the children. She loved that work that she did. It meant a great deal to her. She got a lot out of it, but I have no doubt that whatever she got out of it, she gave much more. Eunice and Harvey had a wonderful marriage. There were, as I've said, struggles along the way, but Harvey built a business. Took a little while to get off the ground. Eunice helped. There were paperwork for accounts payable and accounts receivable in the house, on the dining room table, wherever it was. She went in to the store when she needed to. She worked from home. And little by little, as part of building their life together, they created this business. It survives both of them and is well cared for by their son. No matter how good any person can be, none of us are saints. And so let it be said here and remembered that Eunice could get mad, but she didn't hold a grudge. She got mad, she got over it. That's a wonderful, wonderful quality in a person. Because things will happen that make us angry. It's how we deal with that and what we do with that. And she let it go. And she could be opinionated. She would want that to be remembered today. Because of the kind of person she was, She was the go-to person for family, for friends, for her children and her children's friends. She was the one you could go to for counsel, for advice, for an honest assessment. She put others before herself. She gave with all her heart. Tradition teaches that when we die, we take nothing with us from this world. Our material goods, whether few or many, we leave them all behind. We bury our beloved dead with open hands rather than clenched fists, as a way to symbolically indicate that whatever it is we have acquired, we relinquish at death. One of the things that Eunice acquired was not material, but it was what the rabbis call the Keter Shem Tov, the crown of a good name. That crown of her good name stays with her. But not only that, it is also bequeathed to all of you, her family. Her crown of a good name survives her life. It is part of the cosmos. It is part of your lives. And every time you share of yourself and you give with the heart and you do for another, you wear Eunice's crown of a good name. You carry it into the future. And every time you speak honestly and lovingly, every time you help someone in need, reach out to someone, you wear her crown of a good name. You pay tribute to her memory, and you honor her life. Zichrona livracha. Her memory will forever be a blessing to all of us who knew her and who loved her. Amen. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino deshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchot yenahaleni nafshi yeshovev. Yancheni v'ma'agalei tzedek lema'an shemo gam ki elech begeit zalmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shiftecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged sogerai tishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shafti beveit Adonai le'orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters and restores my soul. God guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. O God, you have prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Please rise. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Utehorim Kezohar harakia mazhirim. Et nishmat Yehudit Miriam bat Shmuel Rasha, shehalcha le'olama, began Eden tehei menuchata, ana bal harachamim, hastireha beseter kenafecha le'olamim, vayitzror bitzror hachayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Eunice Buller, Yehudit Miriam, bat Shmuel v'Rasha. Grant her that perfect rest that you have promised as she has now entered eternity. O God of mercy, we pray. May Eunice find refuge in your eternal presence, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember Eunice. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember her. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember her. When we have joys we want to share, we remember her. She will always be a part of us, and it is our blessing that we shall always remember her. Following our burial service at Mount Olive Cemetery, the family will return to Evan Buller's home, 2068 Eden Hall Drive in Lyndhurst, to observe Shiva today through Saturday evening. Of course, Shiva will end on Friday at 4 p.m. and will resume at the end of Shabbat, Saturday evening, beginning at 7 o'clock. For those who might wish to honor Eunice's memory with a charitable contribution, the family suggests that you direct your generosity to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research.